Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Meredith, one of the Husqvarna Viking educators, and it is time for another block of the month. We have been sewing together this, I'm going to show it to you, the Sweet Dreams quilt right here that can be found. You can find it on the Creative 8 website, and we have that linked in the description. Oh my goodness, I can't talk this morning. We have that linked in the description. But we're about halfway through it. June is halfway through the month, so we are halfway through our quilt. And I am so excited to show you this next one that we're going to be doing today. We are going to be doing the Morning Glory right here, which is sort of like a drunkard's path with the curves and things like that, but it's how we're going to put it together. Looks a little bit different. But let's recap what we've already done for the first 5 months of the year. I always like going back and looking. It's like my second favorite part of these videos is going back over what we've already done. So for the month of January, we did, I had my list right here. We did this long one right here. And this one is, where is it at? Oh, this is the long rail fence. So we did this one first. And with this one, we did floating stitches with it. And we also did this large rail fence one right here. And then we did the inspiration collage, this one here. I need to iron it. We did this one here, and this one we did a plaid stitch all over in the middle of it. So that one here. So that was January. We did 3 blocks in January, but they're kind of all the same, just in a different way. For February, we did the flying geese. So we have this one right here. This is the, I'm trying to find this one. Oh, I don't have this one labeled with its name. We have this one right here. I want to say it's the arrowhead one. I could be wrong, but I think that's the arrowhead one, this one here. Yes, because this other one that we did 2 of these. We have a flying geese one right here, and then we have a shorter flying geese one here. So we did these 2 right here. So that was what we did for February. And then for March, we did the friendship star, which is this one here with 3 of them. And then we did the double friendship star. So this one has the half square triangles with the half square triangle in it. So this one's a little bit bigger. I think this is my favorite one so far. I like the traditional look of blocks, and I really like this one here. So that was for March. For April, it was National Serger Month. So we did this block on the serger. So this was a 9-patch, a stitch motif 9-patch. So this one right here, this one's a very large block. This one here. So we had our 9 patches and then our solid pieces, and we piece them all together on our serger and then subcut them down, things like that. And then for May, we did our Dresden plate. I wanted to make sure that's what they were called. I knew that's what they were, but I wasn't sure if we called them that. So we have 2 Dresden plate blocks here that we did. And I would say this is one of my favorite techniques to do is a Dresden plate. I really enjoy that traditional like applique look and things like that. So that is what we have done up until now. And today we are going to do the Morning Glory, which is I'll show you this one right here, the Morning Glory right here. So this is, again, another large block. I put these blocks, I mean, this quilt's going to be massive. I do all these blocks and I get done with them. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's huge. So I already have 3 of the blocks done because you're basically doing 4 of the same blocks and then sewing them together. But I wanted to show you, you have 2 template pieces you're going to want to cut out, and you can trace them onto template plastic if you wanted to, so that you're not messing up your paper pieces if you didn't want to, things like that. But I just went ahead and cut them with my paper here. And then I cut out all of my quarter circles here. So let me show you my finished blocks I have here. Here's 1 right here. And then here's 2 that are already sewn together. The one I just showed you is going to go below the boots over here. And then the one we're going to sew is going to go underneath this one. So we're just going to get to it. I already have my quarter circles cut, and then my little arches. I don't know, is there a technical word for what these pieces are called? If there is, let me know in the comments. They look like little bridges, little arches to me. So we have these as well. So what we're going to do, we want to find the middle of these, because sewing on curves, you're not going to want to start from the end and work your way around. You want to find that middle point and put a pin in it, literally put a pin in it, and then we're going to just ease it around. So I'm going to show you how I did that. But what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to take your pieces and you're going to want to fold them in half, right sides together, and press right here on the fold. And the same for these. We're going to press on the curve of the fold right here. So I'm going to take these over to my iron. I'm going to press these and we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how we're going to pin them together and ease them in so that they all fit together evenly. So we'll be right back. All right, so I have pressed all 4 of my quarter curves and my corner pieces just right in the middle, like I had mentioned, on the fold. And what we're going to do, one thing I want you to keep in mind too is if you have directionally based fabric. So you'll remember from one of my friendship stars, I was very intentional about making sure my lines of that fabric went the right way. Well, it's the same with this one here. So I was very intentional about making sure that my lines for these went the right way, but also this material here has little raindrops on it. And I wanted them all that when I put everything together, they're all going up and down. So just keep that in mind. So, you know, it may not matter to you. Or also the other thing, these rain boots, I wanted to make sure that they were all going the right direction. So just keep that in mind. If that's something that you want to be mindful of, just keep that in mind. So what we're going to do here, I have got my 2 pieces. Let me see. Let's back out just a little bit. So I have got my 2 pieces right here that were folded, and we're going to get that lined up. I also want to make sure that this point and this point down here are lined up as well before I pin that. So you see that right there? So we're going to pin this in place here. So find your middle piece just like that. Then you're going to go to one of the sides, and we have these right sides together as well. So keep that in mind. We're going to go to the side right over here, and I'm going to line up the straight edges and my point, and I'm going to put a pin in it just like that. Then what we're going to do is sort of get this lined up a little bit and find the middle of those 2 pins and make sure we're sort of even, because we are going to gather just a smidge right in there. And then we're going to put another pin and one more right over here just to hold this all in place and make sure that our little bit of a gather is even throughout. So just like that. And that's one half of it. Then we're going to come over here and do the same thing to the other half. So line up those corners and the straight edge and put a pin in it right here. And then find the center roughly and put a pin in here and over here and one more over here. And I can tell I cut my fabric a little bit. I think that was from when I had cut another block. So we're going to work around that a little bit and work it in our favor because it kind of gives us that little slit to get it to work within. So just like that. And you're going to have something like this. And we are going to sew all the way around. So I wanted to talk about this. So when I did my other 12 half circles, I sewed them with the half circle part up and with the, the arch part up. And I couldn't find that one way was easier than the other. I think I leaned more towards having the half circle up under my needle. So like this versus like this. It's completely up to you. If there is a right way or a wrong way, please let me know. Or if there's, if you have any tips or tricks for doing it, but this is just what I have found that works best for me, is to have the half circle or the quarter circle up on top. And then I can just feel underneath for the arch to make sure it's smooth as we go. This is not a quick, when you're on a straight line seam, you just, pedal to the metal, go. This is you work a little bit, stop with your needle down, adjust, adjust a little bit and keep going. So we are going to pin all of these together and then we're going to sew. I like to pin them all together at once. Then I can sew I like to assembly line things. So let's go ahead and pin all of this together and then we'll start sewing it. So I'll be right back. All right, so I have my 4 little pieces, or my 8 pieces pinned together into 4, and now we're just going to sew them together. So again, I like to sew with my half quarter circle on top, so let's get to that. So let me zoom in just a little bit here so you can see. All right, so we're just doing a straight stitch, and I have my 1/4 inch foot on with my flange. I love this. This is my favorite 1/4 inch foot to use. So we're going to take out our first pin here, and again, still making sure that everything is straight across here and our corner is lined up. We're going to just place it right underneath. We're going to start sewing just a little bit, and we want to make sure our needle is stopping in the down position, just like that. So we want to engage that or turn your hand wheel. And we're just going to work a little bit at a time. I just work between the one pin that I pulled out and the one that I'm coming up to. Don't worry about the rest of it. We're going to sew straight. Again, this is a curve, but we're working in small sections as we go. So let's pull this pin. And as we're doing this, we just want to make sure that whatever piece, so I have my arch piece on the bottom, we're just making sure that that is smooth as we go too. We don't want to catch those folds. So you'll feel those folds, but again, we're just easing it in. So if you've ever done garments before where you've had to ease in, you know, a sleeve and things like that, that's really just what we're doing, just little by little. So here we go. And I can feel with my fingers if I'm coming up to a like a bump or anything like that with our material. So just working all the way, and when you get to the end, we're just going to make sure that again our points are lined up and those straight edges are lined up as well. Just like that. So we sewed a curve, but we worked in small sections and basically sewed on the straight of the line. So let's cut this, and here you go. Let's pull it over here so you can see. So there you go. This way, here we go. And we've got it all lined up. So we're going to do this with all 4 of them, and I'll go slow again through one more before I speed it up for you guys. And then you can just press it. And let me know, do you press it up towards, you know, the arch, or do you press it down towards the curve? I did it both ways on mine and, you know, didn't find a rhyme or reason to it. But if you have a preference, or if there's like a specific rule for doing that, I would love to hear that as well. So let's keep going here and do the next one. So I'll do it with the point, or with the arch side up this time, so you can see the difference. So with this one, you can see all of our, like, you know, our little ruffles, not really ruffles, but our gathering here that we have. So let's get this lined up right here. And again, we're just making sure that everything is staying smooth within that small section that we're working within. Just like that. So you'll still have some of that gather, but it should not be within the seams that you're sewing. It's going to be a little bit further out. So just like this. So right here, I came up to where I think it was going to catch, my little fold was going to catch there. Making sure this is lined up straight here. Just like that. So there we go. And there's our second one. Just like that. So I'm going to sew these next 2, and then I'll come back and we're going to talk about assembling them all together. Okay, so we have all 4 of our pieces sewn together. I'm going to take them over to my iron and press them, and then we're going to sew them together and assemble the remainder of our block. So I'll be right back. All right, so I have pressed them all, and you can see how nice they look, pressed and clean. And we are going to just assemble them together. Again, if you have directionally based fabric, lay it out before you sew it together, just to make sure you have it going the right way you need it to go, or that your pieces are in the right place, because I have my yellow and blue opposite throughout. So we just want to make sure that those are lined up. And once you have confirmed that you have them right, you want to line up these seams right here. So we're going to get these seams lined up. We're not going to line up the points necessarily, because, you know, in a perfect world, everything would line up, but, you know, we're not perfect and it's okay. So you want to make sure that those 2 seams are lined up, and then you can put a pin in your 2 corner pieces, just like that. And that's why you know to start. So let's do it with the other one too here. So we're going to line up these 2 seams right here, just like that, making sure that they are together. And then make sure our corners are good and straight, and then we can line that up. So see, like this one lined up perfect. My other one was off just a smidgen, but not enough to make a difference. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam through these right here. So take out that first one. And I like to get as close as I can to my pin without going over it. So right there, I'm right before it, and then you can pull that out. And sew the rest of the way. And then we can chain piece these next 2 as well. So line this up right here. Move that up a little bit. Line that up, and then just keep sewing. And again, when you get close to that pin, we're going to pull it out. I like to try and get my needle into that seam just a little bit so that it holds it, so that when I pull that pin out, I'm not going to lose my spot, or it's not going to shift the material there as we go. So just like that. And then we're just going to cut this little guy right here. And we have these lined up. So now you can see, got them lined up right there. And the same with this one. And now what you're going to want to do is press those seams in opposite directions. We've talked about this in past videos, why we press them in opposite directions, so they sit in with each other really well. So I'm going to go press these, and then we're going to sew it together, and we'll have our 1 block to sew to our 2 blocks to sew to our finished block. So I'll be right back. All right, so real quick, I pressed those, and did I just press those? I think I just did. I did them the wrong way. I did them both the same way instead of opposite ways. So hang tight. I'm going to go fix it one more time. Okay, so that was an easy fix. Just press it the other way. So we're going to put these 2 pieces together. And the reason we do them in opposite directions is so that these seams sort of sandwich into each other right like that. And again, I've talked about this in some of the previous block videos. So we're going to pin those in place, find that middle point, and then we will still want to come over and pin our curves in place just to make sure that they are good as well. So pin that there and come over here. And again, everything lined up thankfully, but sometimes it doesn't, but everything lined up good there. So we're going to sew all the way across this now. Real quick and easy. Okay, and everything lined up really well. So just like that. So now I have these 2. I'm going to go ahead and just press my seams for this back piece, and then we're going to sew it to this next one over here. Then we're going to sew it to our big piece. So two more big seams to do. So I'm going to go press this and I'll be right back. So you'll see this is a lot of back and forth with this one, with pressing and sewing, pressing and sewing. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our 2 blocks we have, put them right sides together, and sew down those. And because I was mindful of how I press my seams with each block, these line up really well and inset into each other. So we're just going to pin them right there and then sew down right here. Okay, so we have our 2 blocks we just sewed together right here, and we have these 2 blocks we sewed together here. So now we're going to put these 2 together. I'm going to press one more time. I've got one more seam to press here, and then we'll sew these 2 together and we will have our finished Morning Glory block. Okay, so again, this is just the easy part. We're putting our 2 blocks together and lining up our seams. With this one, we're gonna have 3 seams to line up. So again, I like to line up that middle seam, if I can, first, right here. So I'm going to pin this and then I'll show it to you. And then our next seams. And sometimes it works out to where your seams are not going in opposite directions for you to sandwich them together, and that's okay. This is again why I like to pin them, so that I can make sure that everything is going to stay lined up when I get to it to sew it. So 3 pins here, and if you need more to, hold everything together, that's fine too. But we have our seams right here pinned together, and now we're just going to sew down, and then we'll have our finished block. So let's get all this lined up here. My thread out of the way. Make sure our seams are lined up. All right, and now we have our finished block. And again, I will press this one more time, that other middle seam there, but I have to back up because this is another big block we have here. So again, a super fun one, good for using scraps or back quarters, things like that. This was another large block. These would be great like floor pillows too. If you just wanted to do certain blocks, like this would be another good big one, like the 9-patch one, motif 9-patch one would be great as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to add those into the chat. The instructions for this block are in the link below. And this is month 6. So if you are watching this one for the first time and haven't seen any of the others, you can see all of the previous January through May blocks as well to start sewing along with us. These are really quick, easy sews, so it really won't take you that long if you're just now joining us to catch back up. So until next time, let me see, I can tell you what our next block is going to be for those that are sewing along that would like to get their fabric ready. We are doing, I want to make sure this is the only one we're doing. I know there's a bunch of them. Okay, so we are doing the X marks the spot block for the month of July. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. So it's going to be a little bit, but it's a very simple block as well. So I will see you next month in July, and we are halfway through our, Sweet Dreams Quilt block of the month. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you next month.